Your skin is not aging. It's reporting. Every line, every patch of dullness, every place where the texture has changed, that's your body leaving a record. A record of inflammation, of oxidative stress, of years of eating foods that were designed for a shelf, not for a cell. And here's the thing almost no one talks about. The same way those foods wrote that story, the right foods can begin rewriting it. Not overnight, not with some miracle compound in a $200 bottle, but with the same foods that ancient healers, traditional grandmothers, and indigenous cultures used for thousands of years to keep their skin resilient, their faces full, and their bodies functioning far longer than modern medicine thought possible. Before we go any further, I want to be clear about something. Everything in this video is for educational purposes only. This is not medical advice, and nothing here is intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. If you have a health condition, are pregnant, or take prescription medications, please talk to your doctor before changing your diet significantly. What I'm sharing with you today is rooted in both traditional practice and modern nutritional research, but your health is personal, and it deserves personal guidance. Now, let's talk about what your skin actually needs, and where, for thousands of years, people found it. Let's start where ancient healers started, with the foods closest to the Earth's surface. The first is bone broth, and I know, you've probably heard about bone broth, but most people don't understand what's actually happening when they drink it. When you slow simmer animal bones for 12 to 24 hours, you extract collagen, gelatin, proline, glycine, and hydroxyproline, the exact building blocks your skin uses to maintain its structure and elasticity. Studies suggest that collagen peptides consumed orally may support skin hydration and reduce the visible depth of fine lines. Traditional Chinese medicine has used bone broth for over 2,000 years as a foundational tonic for what they call Jing, the essential life force stored in the kidneys that governs aging. Medieval European physicians prescribed it for the elderly and convalescing. Your great-grandmother likely made it every week without knowing the science behind it. You can make it yourself with leftover chicken carcasses, beef knuckles, or lamb bones from any butcher. Add apple cider vinegar to help draw minerals from the bones. Simmer low and slow, and drink a cup a day. Accessible, ancient, effective. From there, move to wild blueberries. Not just blueberries, wild blueberries, which are smaller, darker, and measurably higher in anthocyanins than their cultivated cousins. Anthocyanins are the pigments that give these berries their deep blue-purple color, and they're among the most studied antioxidants in nutritional science. Oxidative stress is one of the primary drivers of visible skin aging. It degrades collagen, disrupts cellular repair, and accelerates the breakdown of elastin. Research confirms that wild blueberries contain some of the highest ORAC values, that's a measure of antioxidant capacity, of any commonly available food. Native American communities in the northeastern United States and Canada have harvested wild blueberries for centuries, using them in everything from pemmican to medicinal preparations for blood purification. You can find wild blueberries frozen at most grocery stores, and frozen actually retains more of the anthocyanin content than fresh because they're typically frozen at peak ripeness. 2 handfuls a day in a smoothie, oatmeal, or just eaten straight gives your skin a consistent supply of the compounds it needs to fight free radical damage at the cellular level. Third on this list, avocado. And before you skip past it because it's familiar, stay with me because most people are using avocado completely wrong. The skin benefits of avocado come primarily from its monounsaturated fat content, specifically oleic acid, and from 2 fat-soluble compounds, lutein and zeaxanthin. These carotenoids accumulate in the skin and function as a kind of internal UV protection, helping to maintain skin density and moisture retention. The Aztec civilization of Central America didn't just eat avocados. They applied them topically, consumed them as a fertility food, and understood empirically what modern research has confirmed. The fat in avocado is what your skin uses to build and maintain its barrier. Without adequate dietary fat, your skin literally cannot hold moisture. Eat the whole fruit. Include the darker flesh near the skin, which contains the highest concentration of beneficial compounds. 1 avocado a day, or at minimum 4 to 5 times per week, gives your body a consistent substrate for skin barrier repair. Now we move into something with a longer history and a more dramatic story. Turmeric, the golden root. Ayurvedic medicine, India's traditional system of healing, now over 3,000 years old. Turmeric was classified as a rasayana herb, a class of plants used specifically for longevity and the rejuvenation of tissues. The active compound, curcumin, has been the subject of over 12,000 peer-reviewed studies. Research suggests it may help modulate inflammatory pathways, support cellular antioxidant defenses, and inhibit the enzymes that break down collagen in the skin. Indian brides have used turmeric paste on their skin for centuries before weddings, not just as tradition, but because the topical and internal use of turmeric was understood to produce a visible luminosity. The challenge with turmeric is bioavailability. Curcumin on its own is poorly absorbed, but combine it with black pepper, which contains piperine, and absorption may increase significantly. A golden milk preparation, a teaspoon of turmeric with a pinch of black pepper in warm milk, or a plant-based alternative taken daily, is one of the oldest and most studied anti-inflammatory rituals in human history. Fifth in this opening group, green tea, specifically matcha, the powdered whole leaf form that was developed by Chinese Buddhist monks and later adopted with profound reverence by Japanese culture. When you drink regular steeped green tea, you extract some of the catechins, particularly EGCG, epigallocatechin gallate, into the water. When you consume matcha, you consume the entire leaf, meaning you receive 10 to 15 times the catechin concentration of standard green tea. EGCG has been studied for its ability to support the protection of skin cells from UV-induced damage, to inhibit the enzymes that degrade collagen, and to reduce the oxidative stress that accelerates aging at the genetic level. Japanese women, who consistently rank among the global leaders in longevity and skin quality, have consumed matcha daily for centuries. You can dissolve half a teaspoon in hot water, whisk it the traditional way, or blend it into a smoothie. The ritual matters too. There's something about slowing down to make matcha that your cortisol levels appreciate. Here's where it gets interesting. Because the next group of foods doesn't just feed your skin, it changes the environment your skin cells live in. Pomegranate. In ancient Persian culture, this fruit was a symbol of immortality. In the Hebrew tradition, it appears in scripture as one of the foods of the Promised Land. In Ayurvedic and Unani medicine, every part of the pomegranate, seeds, rind, juice, flowers, was used medicinally. Modern research has identified a compound called urolithin A, produced when gut bacteria metabolize L-glutanins from pomegranate seeds. Urolithin A has been studied for its role in mitophagy, the process by which cells clear out damaged mitochondria and regenerate healthier ones. Since mitochondrial dysfunction is one of the key mechanisms of cellular aging, this is not a small thing. The seeds themselves are high in punic acid, a unique fatty acid that may support skin elasticity. Drink pomegranate juice, fresh pressed is best, or eat the seeds directly. Even the dried peel, powdered and added to water, was used in traditional medicine as an astringent tonic. Number 7 is one that surprises people. Fatty fish, specifically wild-caught salmon, mackerel, sardines, and herring. The skin-aging connection here is astringent and direct. Omega-3 fatty acids, EPA and DHA, are incorporated directly into the phospholipid membrane of skin cells. When those membranes are rich in omega-3s, cells hold water more effectively, inflammation signals are modulated, and the structural integrity of the dermis is better maintained. The Inuit peoples of the Arctic, whose traditional diet was dominated by cold water fatty fish, were historically noted by early explorers for skin that resisted the extreme environmental aging you'd expect from constant cold and wind exposure. Modern research has since identified their omega-3 intake as a significant factor. Wild-caught sardines in particular are one of the most affordable, sustainable, and nutrient-dense foods available, rich in omega-3s, astaxanthin, vitamin D, and selenium. 2 to 3 servings of fatty fish per week may meaningfully support your skin's structural foundation. 8th, rosehip. Most people walk past rosehips without a second glance, the small red or orange fruits that remain on rose bushes after the petals fall. But ounce for ounce, rosehips contain more vitamin C than almost any food on earth, with some varieties measuring 40 times the vitamin C content of oranges. Vitamin C is not optional for skin health. It is the primary cofactor for collagen synthesis. Without adequate vitamin C, your body literally cannot complete the chemical process of building new collagen. During World War II, when citrus fruits were scarce in Britain, the government organized mass harvests of wild rosehips to produce rosehip syrup for children and the elderly, understanding that vitamin C deficiency had visible and serious health consequences. Rosehips are also rich in lycopene and beta-carotene, carotenoids that accumulate in skin tissue and support photoprotection. You can find rosehip powder or rosehip seed oil at health stores, or forage them yourself in autumn from any wild or ornamental rose. A tablespoon of rosehip powder stirred into water or yogurt daily is a remarkably cost-effective habit. Now, something that has been quietly growing in Western nutritional awareness while having never left the awareness of Eastern medicine: shiitake mushrooms. In traditional Chinese and Japanese medicine, shiitake was classified as an imperial food, consumed by royalty and provided to the elderly specifically for its longevity-supporting properties. The active compound most studied for skin relevance is polysaccharide lentinan, along with aritadenine and a significant concentration of copper. Copper is a trace mineral that's essential for the enzyme lysyl oxidase, which cross-links collagen and elastin fibers to give skin its tensile strength. Shiitake also contains koic acid, a natural compound that has been used in Japanese skincare for decades to support even skin tone. Research suggests that the polysaccharides in shiitake may also support immune function in the skin's own defense layer. You can grow shiitake on logs or blocks in a shaded corner of a yard or balcony. Kits are inexpensive and rewarding. Sauté them simply in butter or olive oil and include them several times per week. 10th is one I want you to sit with for a moment, because it's humble, it's cheap, and it's almost certainly already in your kitchen. Eggs, whole eggs, not just the whites. The yolk contains lecithin, choline, lutein, zeaxanthin, and fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K2. The sulfur-containing amino acids in eggs, cysteine and methionine, are direct precursors to glutathione, your body's master antioxidant, and one of the most important compounds for skin health at the cellular level. Traditional cultures across every continent have understood eggs as a restorative, rejuvenating food. The nutritional demonization of egg yolks in the latter half of the 20th century is now widely considered one of the most significant dietary errors of the modern era. Pasture-raised eggs, where hens have access to sunlight and insects, contain measurably higher omega-3 and vitamin D content than factory-farmed equivalents. 2 whole eggs daily, from the best source you can access, is one of the most nutritionally complete and affordable habits in this entire list. Pause here for just a second, because we're halfway through and I want to make sure something is landing. This isn't a list of supplements to buy or a system to purchase. Everything I've described so far, bone broth, wild blueberries, avocado, turmeric, matcha, pomegranate, fatty fish, rose hips, shiitake, eggs, you can source all of it from a grocery store, a farmer's market, or your own backyard. The compounding power of these foods isn't about any single one of them. It's about giving your body a continuous, varied supply of the raw materials it needs to do what it was designed to do. Your cells know how to maintain healthy skin. They just need what they need to do it. Number 16, by the way, is something ancient Mediterranean cultures used specifically to reverse sun-damaged skin, and I think it's going to surprise you. Keep watching. Now we move into territory most people never explore. And that's exactly why most people never see results. Number 11, fermented foods. Specifically, traditionally fermented vegetables, sauerkraut, kimchi, lacto-fermented pickles. The gut-skin axis is one of the most actively researched areas in dermatology right now, and the emerging consensus is exactly what Hippocrates suggested around 400 BCE, that the majority of health, including skin health, originates in the gut. When your gut microbiome is diverse and well-populated with beneficial bacteria, short-chain fatty acids are produced that reduce systemic inflammation. Chronic low-grade inflammation is one of the clearest drivers of accelerated skin aging. Traditionally fermented foods also increase the bioavailability of nutrients in the vegetables being fermented. The vitamin C and K2 in fermented cabbage, for instance, are more readily absorbed than in raw cabbage. A quarter cup of sauerkraut or kimchi with meals several times a week is one of the most accessible ways to begin addressing the gut-skin connection. Make your own. It costs almost nothing and requires only cabbage and salt. 12. Sea buckthorn. This is one of those plants that Himalayan monks, Russian cosmonauts, and Mongolian traditional healers all arrived at independently, which should tell you something. Sea buckthorn berries are one of the rare plant sources of omega-7 fatty acids, specifically palmitoleic acid, which is found naturally in human skin sebum and plays a role in maintaining the skin's moisture barrier. Sea buckthorn also contains omega-3, 6, and 9, all 4 essential fatty acid families in a single berry, along with extraordinarily high concentrations of vitamin C, E, and beta-carotene. Traditional Tibetan medicine used sea buckthorn for everything from wound healing to digestive support. Soviet-era researchers studied it extensively as a topical treatment for radiation-affected skin. You likely won't find the fresh berries unless you grow them yourself. They're extraordinarily tart, but the oil and powdered berry are increasingly available at health food stores. A daily teaspoon of sea buckthorn powder in a smoothie or yogurt provides a breadth of skin-relevant compounds you'd struggle to get from anything else in one serving. 13. Dark leafy greens, but specifically the ones with the deepest color: Swiss chard, kale, spinach, and especially dandelion greens. The chlorophyll in deeply pigmented greens has been studied for its ability to support the detoxification pathways in the liver, which has a direct, if often overlooked, connection to skin clarity and vitality. But more specifically for skin aging, the carotenoid and lutein content of dark leafy greens accumulates in the skin's epidermal layer, where it provides measurable protection against UV-induced oxidative damage. Magnesium, highly concentrated in chlorophyll, is involved in over 300 enzymatic processes in the body, including many related to DNA repair and protein synthesis. Many adults are chronically deficient in magnesium, which degrades everything, including skin function. The Romans cultivated chard specifically as a medicinal herb. Native American healers used dandelion for liver support and skin purification across dozens of tribal traditions. A large, varied salad of dark greens daily, dressed simply with olive oil and lemon, is one of the most protective habits you can build. Number 14 is so potent that medieval European monks grew it inside monastery walls. Chinese emperors demanded it as tribute, and Arab physicians in the 9th century wrote entire treatises dedicated to it. Garlic. Raw, aged, or fermented garlic. Allicin, the compound released when garlic is crushed or chopped, is one of the most studied naturally occurring antimicrobial and antioxidant compounds in existence. But the skin-aging specific benefits of garlic are connected to its sulfur content, which supports the body's production of glutathione and collagen, and to its ability to modulate NF-κB, an inflammatory signaling pathway directly implicated in skin aging at the genetic level. Studies suggest that regular garlic consumption may support circulation, delivering more oxygen and nutrients to skin cells, and may help protect telomeres, the protective caps on chromosomes that shorten with age. The mechanism is elegant: better circulation, less inflammation, more antioxidant capacity. Crush 1 to 2 raw cloves daily and let them rest for 10 minutes before consuming. This activates the allicin. If raw garlic is too intense, aged black garlic is mild, sweet, and even higher in certain antioxidants. 15. Walnuts. Specifically, this nut has a compositional profile uniquely suited to skin support. Walnuts are one of the only plant foods with a meaningful amount of ALA omega-3 fatty acids, along with significant vitamin E, zinc, and selenium. Selenium is critical. It's a trace mineral that supports the antioxidant enzyme glutathione peroxidase, and chronically low selenium is associated with accelerated skin aging and reduced skin resilience. Zinc, also present in walnuts, is involved in collagen synthesis, wound healing, and the regulation of sebaceous gland activity. Persian physicians in the medieval Islamic Golden Age, one of the most sophisticated medical traditions in history, prescribed walnut preparations for skin conditions and what they described as premature aging of the skin. Modern nutritional science has confirmed why. A small handful of walnuts daily, about 7 to 10 halves, is all that's needed. More is not better. Walnuts are calorie-dense and best consumed in moderation. We're in the final stretch, and I saved what I consider the most remarkable for last. 16. Olive oil. Cold-pressed, extra virgin, ideally from a single estate source. This is the Mediterranean secret that researchers have been studying obsessively since Ansel Keys first observed in the 1950s that populations in Greece and southern Italy were aging differently than their Western counterparts. Oleic acid in olive oil has already been mentioned in the context of avocado, but olive oil also contains a unique polyphenol called oleocanthal, which behaves similarly to ibuprofen in its anti-inflammatory mechanisms, and oleuropein, which has been studied for its ability to support skin elasticity and protect against UV-induced oxidative damage. Populations in Crete who consume olive oil almost ritualistically, not just as a cooking medium, but drizzled over everything, consumed almost medicinally, consistently show among the lowest rates of skin aging relative to sun exposure in Mediterranean research. 3 to 4 tablespoons daily is the research-supported range. Use it over salads, over cooked vegetables, stirred into soups at the end of cooking. Do not heat it to smoking, that degrades the polyphenols. 17. Sweet potatoes. This is one of the most underestimated anti-aging foods in existence. A single medicine shaitos. Sweet potato contains more beta-carotene than almost any other food you can eat. And beta-carotene, once converted to vitamin A in the body, is the compound that drives cellular turnover in the skin. Vitamin A is the active ingredient in tretinoin, the prescription topical that dermatologists have used for decades as the gold standard in anti-aging skincare. Getting it orally from food in its precursor form is gentler and supports the whole body rather than just the surface. Beta-carotene also accumulates in skin tissue and creates what researchers describe as a slight golden tone, a visual indicator of dietary carotenoid intake that studies show humans associate with health and attractiveness. The Okinawans of Japan, who have one of the highest concentrations of centenarians on Earth, eat a diet historically dominated by purple and orange sweet potatoes. This is not a coincidence. Roast them, steam them, eat the skin. The skin contains concentrated fiber and additional antioxidants. 18. Raw cacao. Not cocoa powder processed with alkali. Raw cacao, the minimally processed whole form of the cacao bean. The flavonols in raw cacao, particularly epicatechin and catechin, are among the most potent vasodilators found in food, meaning they support the expansion of blood vessels and the circulation of blood to peripheral tissues, including the skin. A 12-week randomized controlled study found that participants consuming high flavanol cocoa showed measurable improvements in skin density, hydration, and blood flow compared to the control group. The Cuna indigenous people of Panama, who drink several cups of minimally processed cacao daily, have attracted scientific attention for their remarkably low rates of cardiovascular aging. Their cacao consumption is believed to be a major contributing factor. A tablespoon of raw cacao stirred into hot water or milk without added sugar gives you the flavanol concentration you're looking for. The bitterness takes adjustment, but it softens with habit. 19. Fermented dairy, specifically kefir or traditionally made yogurt with live active cultures. The lactic acid produced during fermentation has a well-established role in gentle exfoliation and skin cell turnover when applied topically. And Cleopatra's famous milk baths were not entirely vanity. But consumed internally, kefir provides a spectrum of probiotic strains not typically found in commercial yogurt, including Lactobacillus kefiri and various yeasts that support gut microbial diversity. As established earlier, gut diversity is directly upstream of skin inflammation and resilience. Kefir is also rich in vitamin K2, particularly MK7, the form produced by bacterial fermentation, which is involved in directing calcium into bones and away from soft tissue calcification that can affect skin texture and circulation. Traditional Caucasian mountain communities, where kefir originated and where exceptional longevity rates were observed by early 20th century researchers, consumed it daily as a staple. Make it yourself if you can. Kefir grains are inexpensive and reusable indefinitely. And 20. The one I want to close with because in some ways it contains everything the others offer, but in a form almost nobody in the modern world uses anymore. Nettle. Stinging nettle, specifically. Before you move on, hear this. Nettle is one of the most mineral-dense plants on Earth. It contains iron, calcium, magnesium, silicon, sulfur, potassium, and vitamins A, C, and K in concentrations that exceed most cultivated vegetables. Silicon, also called silica, is a trace mineral that's received significant research attention for its role in collagen synthesis and skin elasticity. Studies suggest that supplemental silicon may support skin thickness, hair quality, and nail strength. In European folk medicine, nettle was prescribed for virtually everything, but consistently, across German, Celtic, and Slavic traditions, it appeared as a remedy for what healers described as old skin that had lost its vitality. Nettle is a weed. It grows almost everywhere in temperate climates and costs nothing to forage. Dry it and make tea, steam the young leaves like spinach in spring, or find nettle powder at most health food stores. A cup of nettle tea daily is one of the simplest, cheapest, and most nutritionally significant habits you could add this week. You don't need a prescription, a surgeon, or a shelf full of products with ingredients you can't pronounce. What you've just heard is a roadmap, assembled from Himalayan monks and Okinawan grandmothers, from Ayurvedic physicians and Arctic hunters, from medieval monastery gardens and ancient Persian orchards. These foods have been tested across thousands of years and billions of people. Modern science has arrived in study after study at the same conclusions those cultures already knew. The skin you want is not something you apply, it's something you build, from the inside, over time with consistency and intention. Start with 2 or 3 of these that feel accessible. Add bone broth to your morning. Swap your afternoon coffee for matcha. Put wild blueberries in your breakfast. Put raw garlic on your dinner. Drizzle olive oil on everything. These aren't sacrifices, they're upgrades. If this video gave you something real, a new piece of knowledge, a habit you're going to try, share it with someone who needs it. The people around you deserve to know what the ancient world already understood. And if you want to go deeper into any of these foods, how to grow them, how to prepare them, how to combine them, we cover all of that here. Because this kind of knowledge belongs to everyone. Take care of yourself. Your skin will show it.